So let's talk a little bit about automation and robotics, which is the whole premise of this class. So automation and robotics, we're going to talk about a couple of things, just the difference between automation and robotics, talk a little bit about the history of automation and robotics, and we'll talk about what robots look like today. So let's start off with the difference. So what is automation? Well, automation is basically some kind of a mechanical device that's imitating a human motion or human movement or animal movement. So very simplistic, often repeating a motion or repeating some kind of an action that people or animals usually do. Then when we have robots, so robots are usually referring to design and construction, building, programming, the operation of a robot. It can be a machine that performs a really complicated task. And so you see these two things, automation and robotics, are both very similar and related, and there is some overlap, but they are a little bit different. So when we look at the history of robots, some of the first that we see are like even puppets from a long time ago. Puppets would be a way that we control something to move that's not human, and so that would be like the first evidence we have of robotics. First generation robots, um, usually we see those in factories, so these are the first ever quote unquote robots that we ever saw. Really simply designed to do some sort of easy one task movement, like this first GM robot made in New Jersey. Apparently it was called Unimate, and it was used just to pick up and place parts. So really simple movement, pick up, so grasping, moving, and then dropping. Very simple movement and repetitive. So that is first generation. Then we have second generation robots that are designed to do more complicated tasks. Usually have more parts, more more functionality, more sensors, so a little bit more involved, and are designed to sense or react to their surroundings. So that's a second generation robot. So let's talk a little bit about precision work. So robots can be used for several things. Precision work meaning something that's repetitively done. It's done precisely. It's done the same way each time, and it's repeated over and over and over again. And so that would be precision work, which is very similar to repetitive or monotonous work, things that often humans get bored with. A robot doesn't get bored. They do what they're told. So a robot can be programmed to do something like welding or stacking boxes or you know putting something together, and it can do it thousands of times before it ever needs a break, and it may not need a break. It's also used for dangerous work, unmanned um, things where we are, as humans, are not able um, to go in things like diffusing a bomb or servicing a nuclear reactor or cleaning a nuclear reactor. These are all things that would be dangerous to humans otherwise without robots. Robots can also be used for exploring. So typically we see this in space or in the ocean or in water, areas that, again, humans could not go otherwise because of surroundings. So lack of oxygen or pressure, in the ocean. So it's easy for a robot to be able to do that. We also see it in education, which is what you're doing right now, learning about robots, and we're beginning to see this become available to students earlier and earlier in their development. So what started in the high school level is starting to trickle down to the middle school, which you're seeing right now, and eventually will become more prevalent in the elementary school. You'll start to see STEM programs being more available in elementary schools too. We also have competitions with robots. Um, so VEX puts on a competition every year, and they change the goals, and they change the course, they change the objectives of the competition each year. Really fun. If we ever get to that point, that would be awesome to be able to take our school to a competition. But really fun. You can check those out on the VEX website. Today's robots, so let's talk a little bit more about what they can do. So industrial robots, they often can be used for the 4Ds, talking about things that are dirty or dull or dangerous, or used to help somebody with a disability, so the 4Ds. Also, you see it in the medical field. Some surgeries can be done with robots or big fancy machines. They've even seen examples of a surgeon performing a surgery in a different country with a robot, so doing a remote surgery. It can also be used for transporting materials or giving out medicine. Robots are a little bit more reliable, less human error. Um, Also, we can see them in assistive robots, so things that are used to help us with tasks that may be difficult or maybe we have a disability. So assistive robots can help us do normal things that like eating and walking and cleaning, grasping, some things that you may have seen already. So at this point, if you would pause the video, you can watch the Ellie robot video. You see the link there. You can also have access to it from Weebly. All right, so let's move on. So robots can also explore. We talked about that. You typically see it in space and underwater. Military also uses the robots to do things that may be dangerous otherwise. Also around the household. So we see robots that can vacuum. You've probably heard of the Roomba or the iRobot or um, uh, anything that you've seen it advertised on the TV, definitely within the last couple of weeks, of something that goes around your house and automatically cleans. It learns the location and the layout of your house. You can find them that mop your house too. And my guess is that as these technologies become more prevalent, then we'll start to see them more and more in people's homes, and they'll become cheaper and cheaper as they're more available. So there you go, some general information. Here's some resources for you if you want them, and just the basics there of robots and automation.